Welcome everybody to another episode of Enclosed Cosmology. I appreciate y'all being here. Let's go on and say, our episode this week is labeled Battle. So we're going to be getting quite a bit in this episode, talking about the 10 plagues leading over to the Passover, and then get into the parting of the Red Sea. And the crossing of it, and all that happens in that nutshell of an episode we're going to make here. So this is a battle not just physically, but spiritually too. And we'll totally get into that. But before we do, let's go ahead and say hi to everyone who's on the panel. So we were jokingly saying backstage, we have a special guest, Anthony Dickinson. Welcome back to the land of the free, my brother. Or, that can actually, that's debatable from your experience. But, welcome back, man. Yeah, it definitely is. I know my heart definitely smiled when I got the call. So yeah, well, we'll give we are going to give Anthony a little bit of time to kind of get caught up with us. He's been away for a handful of weeks since procession. He was supposed to be there on the procession number 3, but he got picked up the Friday before. And just so that those that don't know but are able to do so, we started a GoFundMe. It's called 5 to Free Anthony. Now he is free, but he's not free from all the stuff that happened to him. He's not free from the money that was. Yes. Oh dang. Okay. All right. Of course this happens again. Let's try this one more time. Anthony, how you doing, brother?
I am doing wonderful. It is great to be free. Shabbat shalom, everybody, and thank y'all all for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that. But anyways, guys, I apologize. We'll move on. Audio should be good now. There was some talking during the thing, so I had to mute it, and then I forgot to unmute it, so that was my mistake. I apologize. But yeah, anyways, there's a GoFundMe for Anthony because he's definitely has. We're trying to raise the 2,500. We've got quite a bit of donations. He's at 390 right now. Our goal is 2,500 for the retainer for the lawyer. And this isn't just about Anthony's situation. It's also about the treatment that he received and the people that are receiving right now still in there. There's a man in there that's been there for 6+ months and has still not had any type of hearing or information given to him. So it's pretty crazy, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's get into introducing everyone else, and then we'll come back and kind of get Anthony caught up to the things that he kind of wanted to point about the previous episodes, and then we'll move on to the actual battle. So, Daryl Lee, welcome again, brother. Shabbat shalom. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Shabbat shalom. Just happy to see our brother back and everybody else too. Anyhow, I won't take up much time, but shalom and good to be here.
Indeed. And we also have our dear brother Frankie B with his him and Nick's great musical prowess. If y'all haven't heard, you can check out last episode, or if you're here at the end, you'll hear Dig Deep. And we kind of switched gears. At first we were going to do like a whole music video, which I still intend to do. I just need better equipment. Anthony is going to be sending me that better equipment so I can make the actual music video. But what we're going to do for now is make like an outro video for it. So that's kind of, I'm already into 50 seconds of the song. So that should be coming shortly. And then, but anyways, brother, how are you doing this fine Sabbath?
Shabbat shalom. Cooked 3 steaks, 4 burgers, and beef hot dogs on the grill. I ate all 3 steaks, a hamburger, and 2 hot dogs.
Nice.
What?
That sounds like a feast to me, brother.
Keto feast, baby. Nothing but meat and cheese.
I bet that was a savory smell to the Father for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, and we got Chris, aka I serve the one I am, again back with us. How you doing, brother? Oh, he may be away. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I don't have service right now. Peace.
Peace. Awesome. And then we have our sister Marcia. How you doing, sister?
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Glad to be here again. And glad to have Anthony back.
Oh yeah.
As our special guest.
Yeah, as our special, coming back guest.
Yep.
So, awesome. All right. Well, I hope everybody is doing well. I hope y'all are excited as we are to have Anthony back with us. So yeah, I'm going to give Anthony the floor here a little bit to he had a few points that he wanted to share with everyone, kind of getting caught up in us. And so yeah, we're going to get into that, and then we're going to get into the episode itself. So swing away, Anthony.
Well, I appreciate the time. But yeah, I've been trying to catch up. I've gotten through the episode, the procession episode. I got all the way through it, and I started the next episode, the Jubilee one. But I had a few points that I would like to have talked about with y'all. If one day if y'all would like to bring it back up or something. But y'all were talking about the yellow and blue flag in Ukraine, and then how it equated to the vaccine, and showed some stuff, some memes and stuff about that. I thought it was very interesting. Because yellow and blue makes green. And what do we call green? Like in prison terms, it would be money, right? Or any other thing that's green. But anyway, yellow and blue makes green. And that's like pounded into our heads ever since that's the first colors we learned. We remember our moms or our dads, our school teachers say yellow and blue makes green. And it was almost a rhyme. At least when I went to school, it was. But I thought that was kind of significant. Another thing is about the...
Hold up real quick. I wanted to say about that. I didn't even think about that. Yellow and blue does make green. And the thing that they're doing right now that they're pushing is the whole climate change, the whole green agenda. So right. Pretty interesting.
That's been going on for a long time.
I know, but it's just kind of interesting that right after, kind of like the invisible boogeyman that was everywhere for the past couple years. Now, and then they change gears to, this Russia versus Ukraine thing, Ukraine versus Russia, and people are kind of already getting bored of that. They want it to end, because it's affecting a lot of gas prices and all that stuff. But the next push now, you still see Ukraine stuff in the news, but there's this real big push, I'm pretty sure if you go to Google right now, just regular Google, let me pour this up. Oh, they must have changed it. But yesterday, when I was searching Google, it was showing me, and it might be because I have the ad blockers on, but it was showing me. Let me change that real quick. I'm gonna take.
I saw yesterday on Google. My sister called me and says, typing Google, and it was showing the water leaving.
Yeah, no, it was showing the melting of the glaciers.
Ah, that's what it was. I said it has to do with water. I couldn't tell exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was the melting of the glaciers is what they kept putting on repeat. It's not pulling up for me, but anyways, my point on that is
climate change.
That's just interesting, the blue and the green, but the blue and yellow and make green. But anyways, what was I'll stop talking now. What were your other
I wanted to point out too also that they've been pushing Zelensky as this great guy, this great leader guy, you know, getting the world behind him, and his name means green. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Oh, dang.
Interesting. I don't believe in coincidences.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, during the last administration, Americans were getting wealthy, so they had to shut that down. Now we're all struggling, paying higher cost at the grocery store, gas pump. All your bills are going up. Restaurants are having paper menus because
Price houses are going up.
they keep changing their menu week to week because the prices keep going up. It's all fear based. They're just trying to put us in a stranglehold.
Right. That also kind of brings me to my next point about the gas prices. How everybody's crying about how expensive it is. Everybody's wanting the gas. But where does gas come from? From crude oil, right? They drill it out of the ground and pump it out of the ground. Well, that's the blood of Earth. Earth is literally alive. And we are living off the blood of a living being. And we're begging for it.
Now,
Well,
And the more
I don't know.
I would see.
Go ahead.
I would call the blood of the earth more water than it would be the crude oil.
Because, like, to me, at least in my mind, like, they explain it, right, that dinosaurs died millions of years ago, and that you know, was found in pockets, you know, and which literally makes no sense. Like, just now, like, if we would have been saying this, you know, 6 months ago, the statement of it makes no sense that something like milk, which we can make infinitely, right? Like we just keep making cows and we can still make milk, was more expensive than or equal as expensive as gasoline, which was refined from leftover dinosaur juices, right? And they were equally in price. That makes no sense. It'd be finite how much of that would be, and they sold it to us and the world that it's a finite resource. My opinion on it now is that it's been being used forever. It is just a part of the natural systems of Earth, and things like them talking about using oil for their lamps, using oil for the menorah. Things like that let me know that it's not necessarily a bad thing to use. But furthermore, the process is simple. The organic matter decays. Those oils that are, more dense than the soil will eventually seep down into the soil. They'll go to a point that they can't go anymore. And then over time that will, group into this crude oil. They'll suck it out of the ground. And that's what we've seen. We've seen that, like, they say, oh, this thing's dried up, but then they went back years later and it was full again.
Yeah.
So,
But the menorah and all that oil, that was olive oil pressed. It wasn't crude.
well, I know, but what my point is I think those things are from, like, just natural processes, natural oils from when plants die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
God gave us everything we needed.
It clearly says it's olive oil.
Okay.
for sure. And but I'm just saying the burning of oil doesn't bother me. And I think the process of making olive oil is humans doing it. Whereas when we get crude oil, that's like the earth doing it. That's like
Nature,
a natural form. That's a natural form of oil. We just learned, like we understood that we could also get oil from plants, just like that oil is made from. But anyways,
now I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like biodiesel, but like making stuff that will work in an internal combustion engine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but the oil that we getting out of the earth, just picture this oil rig. It's a giant syringe, and they're poking the earth and draining the blood. Anyway, that was just kind of my last kind of point of it. I really do think we should get away from eating blood and drinking blood, even if it's from the earth, as best we can.
Well, you know what? there's actually a way to run with water and hydrogen and all that. You know, it doesn't have to be crude oil. They're keeping all that from us. They're keeping the the technology from
Oh,
us.
totally. And it's this is the thing. It's like I get what you're saying, we should get away from using crude oil because like the people that are making the money from it aren't great people and they are willing to hurt the earth. I totally get those aspects of it. It's
Yeah.
just hard for like any working person to be like, "Okay, I'm just done with gasoline." You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's and there are those out there that don't have to drive as much for their driving, so they work at home or whatever, but not everyone has that option.
No,
So
get a horse and
electric
make hay.
cars are so expensive. So.
and not only are electric cars expensive, but if there's no electrical grid, how are you
Right.
going to charge it?
Well, and that too. I mean, and then who's got a half an hour to sit there and let their car charge up? You know what I mean?
do. I
We're
do.
busy. We're all busy working, doing things, and I ain't spending a half an hour sitting at the gas station. Rather sit
I
and
ain't
play.
spending that kind of. I'm not spending that kind of money on an electric car. Sorry. It's time to get a horse or a bicycle.
And that would be awesome, right? Like if we could make a community where like literally you could have horses and just ride the horse into the center of town or whatever, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, that would, huh?
yeah, that
Yeah.
would be so sick.
It's called being Amish.
Yeah, Amish. There you go, Amish.
Yeah, but I don't know if I trust the Amish. They're too.
Yeah, I
they're
don't
too
trust them
They're
either.
too secretive to me.
Yeah, but they do learn how to live without stuff. Their whole secret society stuff. Yeah, okay, I can push that aside. But the way they farm and they live at candlelight, and they're going to be able to handle no electricity where we aren't. It's going to be like.
Hey, right quick. I saw Nick mention in the chat there. I don't think we're harming the earth either. As far as like getting oil, getting the oil out. I'm just saying our dependency on it is almost like drinking blood. It's almost like using that blood for our power and stuff like that. I'm not saying it is a renewable resource. I do agree with that, but I just wanted to address. I wanted to be clear about what I was getting at.
Sweet. All right. Well, was there any other points that you wanted to bring up from the past videos, or are you ready to move on to the battle?
Yeah. One other point, Vader Bear, your drama voice when you read, it's gonna scare the sheep, man, because it's too realistic.
What do you mean when I read?
You was reading a couple of articles about NASA and stuff like that, and you was using like a dramatic voice.
Oh.
Man, because it sounds too real. It's gonna wake people up that way.
Yeah, maybe I should get my Darth Vader mask and start reading news articles with that voice.
No doubt, man. I think you did an extremely good job, man. Because I mean, that even woke me up just about it.
Awesome. All right. Well, super glad you're back, and love to get into this with you. It's almost like it's 21, and you're here. First episode, the 21st episode. So, which is kind of interesting because 20th episode, right, is the last time that it's like if or first or second, right? It's literally now it's 21st, which is two separate words.
Double digits.
Yep. So we looks like we lost Daryl Lee. He may had reception problems. Hopefully he will be back. But yeah, okay, so let's kind of sum up where we are now. So we talked about Moses and him, his raising. We looked into that. We talked about we talked about Pharaoh, and not only what it meant, the Pharaoh that Moses would be up against, who knew not Joseph, but what it meant to be Pharaoh, the gods that they did. And we looked at all those gods, and we're going to get into those gods kind of a little bit again as we start going through and looking at the 10 plagues and talking about them. And we will read a little scripture about them as well when that comes up. But let's do this. Just pulling up some stuff for y'all. Accidentally closed that out. Bear with me. Okie dokie. So we showed that in Exodus. We showed that, and then in the third kind of installment of this Moses, we talked about the struggle, like the struggle Moses had when he met the Father, and, when it came to the circumcision of his son, and, what he grew up in, and, like his mother having to leave him, but then the grace of him getting get to be raised by her, but then the awkwardness of him then going to the court, and then him killing the Egyptian, and we had that kind of discussion on was he helping, was he saving life, or was he taking life, and the different dimensions that we could look at that. And just that struggle that he was going to have leading up to now, this battle where we start seeing the Father directly attack Pharaoh in all Pharaoh's parts, and he uses the struggles that Moses went through to have this this icon who, it's not like the world's icon where they're perfect and they never make mistakes. It's this man that's kind of down and distraught, being lifted up for the sake of the Father, and we're gonna see that as we kind of go through it. So, and again, I'm not gonna go and read every single chapter of all of the plagues, but we are gonna kind of talk about them now. Does everyone, I'm assuming everyone knows the 10 plagues. So we got the first one, which was water turning to blood. And then we had the frogs, the lice, the flies, which I think Sean brought up a really good point that flies could actually be beetles, which is an interesting fact. And then we have livestock, pestilence, we got the boils, we got the hail, the lotus, the darkness, and then the killing of the firstborn. So before we get to that 10th one, I want to kind of set back and talk about the first ones. So before, in episode I believe 19, where we were talking about Pharaoh, we talk about Sadoc. Let me pull this up again for y'all. Give me 1 second. Sabak. Here we go. And give me 1 second, guys. I want to see what screen I'm going to be sharing with y'all. So this is not the one I want. So put this over here, and then grab this and put it over here. All right. So let's pull this up. So this is Sadoc. So Beck. So this is the god of the Nile. So, and in the first, in the first one, what we're seeing is, again, the blood of the Nile. So we're seeing the whole blood, turning before. And we even see before, there's, other literature, is it the Jubilees where they would take the blood out of, the water in the Nile. If they took that and put it, like in the sand, it would turn to blood. So there's a lot of interesting things, but we see this is the first direct attack. Now,
are you sharing something?
Yes, I'm sharing. Well, I can share it with y'all as well.
So I just thought, because I don't see it on YouTube, if you were sharing something.
It's a little off So
No, you don't have to. It's just I was just curious.
Okay. But so this character is in the thumbnail with the episode of Pharaoh. He's praying to this. They would be praying to these idols, and we've seen it, in multiple parts. They have eyes, but they can't see. But we also know that there's a spiritual side to this. Because of what we've talked about before with what happened during the pre-flood and what happened after the pre-flood, where we have all these unclean spirits, and then we have the rise of Nimrod with these unclean spirits leading to the Tower of Babel, and then the confusion of the speech, and then leading now to we talked about Abraham and the struggles of the different nations he was going through, and his Lot went through, and now we're seeing Moses up against these same type of characters. And what's interesting is it's a line by line attack on these gods. So bring this back up, and then I'm going to pull you. So the after that we talked about I don't know why that's not pulling up. We talked about not after. I'm so sorry. I can't believe that happened. Okay, so after the water turned into the blood, we have the frogs. Now Egyptians have a frog god, but also the most of the frogs would have came from the Nile. Thus, this is also again an attack on Sobek, but pull this up for y'all. We also see parts in their culture where they're worshiping the frog imagery as well. I'm trying to pull that up, but I cannot find it. So I literally am getting a whole bunch of Pepe the Frog memes. And that doesn't surprise me. Where did that go? Okay, I'm going to try to find that, but I'll move on later for the ones that I do have. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm having some technical difficulties. Give me just 1 second. Will not.
Well, while you're having difficulties, we're talking about frogs. Kind of interesting that like the QAnon has a frog logo for a lot of people that's supposed to like prophesy and stuff. But also, what I thought is interesting or scary weird, but past few years ago, scientists made gay frogs. I ain't joking, it's real. They actually made gay frogs.
But it wasn't intentional, right? Like, I don't remember if it was intentional. I thought it was like leaking into the water, and then it was.
Yeah, that's what they said. That's but who knows?
It was intentional.
Yeah.
The experiment that he's talking about, because I think they used a chemical that's in birth control, I think, or something.
Yeah, I don't remember the whole story about it, but it's just, I mean, you can't make this stuff up,
I've also wondered
they
if
would
there
make
was a connection.
the male frogs.
Oh, go ahead.
The male frogs would turn into females.
Oh, is that what they did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then were they all female that would happen? Is that what they were trying? I don't know. So they transgendered him, huh?
Yep, that's basically what they did.
Oh, they've done so much. It's incredible. Anyway,
Well, I mean, they're making glowing dogs right here.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's crazy.
The dude's he's doing it in his backyard.
Jeez.
So I don't know
Well,
why it surprise anybody nowadays.
it doesn't. It doesn't me. It just doesn't anymore. The stuff they do. When I hear about it, it just makes me sick. But it doesn't shock me. Yeah, those glow in the dark dog feet or something. Ugh, whatever.
Well, I don't know about that, but this guy is on a Netflix show called Unnatural Selection, and you don't have to watch the whole thing. The first episode says it all. I shared that with Rob Skibuck years ago, and he said he was crying like midway through the first episode.
What did you say that was called? Unnatural Selection is the name of the episodes?
Yeah, it's called Unnatural Selection.
I'll have to check that out.
I hate to give them props for any views because there's some real sick stuff going on in that show. I couldn't sit through it though.
But it's all about like end times kind of things, huh?
Genetic manipulation and crossbreed stuff. It's like chimera stuff going on in people's backyards now, in their garage, in their kitchen. They're these
Well, there's even I put some things up where they actually have home kits and to put your own cells of your own body in these petri dishes and grow your own meat of you. Ugh. They're just trying to push cannibalism.
That's cannibalism.
Well, yeah, that's what they're pushing, and it's they're technically not.
And they've been totally wanting to do that, and even more so, they want to. Yeah. I think that's a slow road till their ultimate, where they want to bring back that previous type of behavior.
Oh, absolutely! It's a slow roll to bring all of it up front.
I don't know if any of y'all ever heard that term. Used to be used like when you ask somebody something and they'll go like, well, when pigs can fly. Well, that might be happening pretty soon, huh?
Well, cops do have police helicopters.
Here's a random thing. So I've said before that I thought that, like pigs were probably genetically created things and they were meant to like eat a lot of stuff and then create a lot of babies for the giants of the time. But the reason why I bring that up is in a movie called, like a MTV movie, Hansel and Gretel. There is a troll in that movie, like a giant, right? And you see him literally kill a boar and just sitting there eating a raw boar. So I just, there's so much like truth in the movie they put in plain sight, but we just like for so long just saw this stuff as myth and believed in the science that was given in exchange for the myth. So
yeah, the whole thing is to bring everybody slowly up to where they have everything, the sacrificing of humans again, everything up to the surface and quit having it underground.
Yep, exactly.
That's what they're doing.
But I got this figured out, so let me pull this up for you. So this is ancientegyptonline.co.uk. So this is Hekek. So this is let me take a step back. So Happy was Hapai, I don't know how to pronounce it, was directly connected to the Nile. Also Osiris, the I'm not gonna pull this up, but Osiris had what the Nile was considered like his bloodstream. And then when we get to the frogs, we have Heket. I'm just pronouncing it. Heket was the goddess of childbirth and fertility in ancient Egypt. She was depicted as a frog or a woman with the head of a frog. The meaning of her name is not certain, but possibly derived from the word Haka, meaning ruler or scepter. Frogs symbolize fruitfulness and new life, and it thought that her priestesses were trained midwives. So we had talked before about how the two Israelite women were blessed because, they wouldn't do what the Pharaoh had commanded them, and how they were saying that their midwives were not like our women aren't like your women. And we see right here a direct connection to the gods of the Pharaoh, to the gods of the Egyptians, to these frogs coming out. Now, obviously, this was a plague. This was an overabundance of the of frogs coming coming into their community, so their cities, too much that it was a plague. So it was another direct attack on the gods, and then.
Right. That's what it looks like, right? It's the Nile. They worship the Nile. That the frogs. They worship them. Yeah, they're all their idols, and now they're going to get a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
That's.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so this is literally this is like a lot of people think, that don't maybe go down into the deep connection, just say like, oh, these are super bad things that are just that are, inconvenient or unfortunate, but it was a direct attack on these specific gods from the Father. And Moses would have been trained and know who these gods were. And so he knows what he's doing when he's doing it as well. It's not like he's just, completely absent-minded. I don't believe. I believe he, even though he says he's slow to speech, I think he just didn't, lack of self-confidence is what it sounds like to me. But, I'm not, who am I to say, to judge? But yeah, it's a direct attack. And then after that, we have, a few other, obviously, gods that are directly attacked. So let me pull those up for you. Bear with me. And here we go. Now this one is obviously really interesting as well, and we'll talk about that obviously when I pull it up. So boom. Okay, so this is Geb. So this is the Egyptian goddess of the earth. Now if you look at Geb, she is a woman who is bending over in an arch, making up the earth. Kind of some interesting depictions here of this god as you see these, horned goat men's kind of praising this center figure. But yeah, she's the earth. Now, this is the direct attack of the lice from the dust of the earth. Now, obviously, those have ever been hair lice in general, they're not something that you want to go through, and they're again directly connecting this god to an attack. Okay, now we talked about before kind of the difference of in the next plague being Osiris, being flies versus beetles. Now, you can take that word and you can derive flies in it, but I again point out, Sean from Kingdom and Context pointed out that you could also use that to describe a beetle, and then we have different forms of that. So let me pull that up now, do a little search, and here you go. Okay. And share screen. Okay, so this is Khepri. Now, Khepri is obviously in God. Now, he has another name, a relation to Atum, but he was depicted as a beetle-haired. Let me pull back. I think there's a. Yeah, no, it's this one. Okay, and it's not. Oh, here we go. So this character was depicted as a beetle-headed god. Now that has direct again connection to Osiris with that manifestation. I'm trying to find that picture. That's Throth. Okay, this is not independently talking about him. I think that was over here. Let me pull that up. Search this with you guys. That is okay. So Capri was associated with the scarab or dung beetle, making him one of the most famous insect gods. The Egyptians watched the scarab beetle rolling dung in a ball and pushing it towards the ground to its burrow. The Egyptians made a connection between the movement of the sun across the sky and the movement of the ball of dung pushed by the beetle. The solar connection was enhanced by the fact that the scarab beetle has antenna on its head, and when the scarab pushed a ball of dung along the ground, the ball would sit between the antenna in a way that's reminiscent of the solar disk flanked by a pair of horns, which was worn by many deities. So,
interesting.
Yeah, so we see again a direct connection, a direct combat on that. Now he's also associated with, flies, beetles. That word, I think that's even more interesting because there isn't a direct connection to flies. Though some people could still connect that to Jeb, saying they're from the earth. So, and then let's pull this up. Okay, transition while I find that for y'all, so give me just a second. And then the next one is the death of the cattle and the livestock. Now, that god's name is Hathor. And let me pull that up for y'all. Hathor. Oops, spelled that wrong. That took way too much time to click. Oh, nope. So, pull this up for you. And transition. Okay, so Hathor. Hathor in ancient Egypt religion, goddess of the sky, of woman, of fertility and love. Hathor's worship originated in early dynasty, 3rd millennium BCE. The name Hathor means estate of Horus. So we got a direct connection there. Horus being the son of Osiris, the 13 parts bringing, the 12 parts being brought back, and the 13th part being made of gold. And her principal animal form was that of a cow, and she was strongly associated with motherhood. So that cow right there, we know that the cattle and the livestock were attacked. So that again was a direct attack on their gods. So if you do y'all want me to go through the rest of them, or would y'all?
Were you going to go through the first four?
Oh, I did.
Out of curiosity, I have a question,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't actually have an answer. I've tried to think about it. Is why did the Israelites go through the first 4 plagues? They had to go through them, and then they stopped going through them. Or the Hebrews. Or
well, I think it's just like for instance, and we'll get to the dark, right? But we know that the Hebrews weren't affected, like they were in the daylight, but the Egyptians were in the dark.
Yeah, but the first 4, they weren't. They were affected in the first 4 plagues, weren't they?
Well, as affected as like maybe that there was frogs around. So how do you get around there being frogs? And then the water was blood, right? But
right.
But I don't. Does it say that their water was? I don't think it says their water turned to blood as well. I think it's all the potted water. We can bring that up here in a second and kind of answer that. What was that?
Nothing.
No,
nothing.
It looked like someone else said something or was trying to say something. No. Okay. It may have been someone like the reception is lost or something. But anyways, so let's pull that up where he does. Where is this at? So the house is. Nope, went to way too far. Bring that up again. Boils. Nope.
From what I remember, it's they were affected with the first 4, everybody, and then the last 6, the Hebrews were not affected at all. Not with the
maybe
darkness.
It had something to do with just like their hearts kind of starting to understand what was going on. Because I think kind of like I was saying, like just as much as the Egyptians knew that these were kind of direct attacks, like to them, like why were their gods doing this to them? And to the Hebrews, they probably knew of these connections too, but they saw it as the Father acting on their behalf. So
Well,
maybe like their
maybe.
heart, their spirit grew in strength, and then that's why it stopped affecting them. That's just kind of me shooting
I don't
off in
know.
my
It
head.
sounded like it would just,
I mean, we also, sorry.
No, go ahead.
We also got to notice that even the Hebrews were worshiping the same gods
That's right.
as the Egyptians were as well. So, you know, they had to be taught a lesson as well. But it's like today, you know, they got it back then. They understood it and changed from their wicked ways. So they were saved from the rest of what was going to happen.
Well,
And
I
that's
think, yeah, I think you're right there. As far as that, it's still, it's odd because the first four, the Hebrews did have to go through it, and believe me, it wasn't fun, those first four either. And there's a reason behind that, why God had them go through the first four, but not the last six. And I just haven't found the deeper meaning to it.
Do you want to have your judgments here on earth where our body can withstand it or not? Or do you want to have your judgment at the resurrection and be, you know, face the
oh, you know what? Just happened to think of it is you want to worship these idols, you were worshiping them too. This is what you get. And yeah, Anthony, I can kind of get the whole kind of a different picture now where they got plagued with them, but now they're going to see the redemption of, because they were worshiping them also. Forcibly
also,
or whatever, but it was 400 years. They lost connection with the Hebrew stuff,
Oh,
you know?
100%. And that's what I was kind of saying. Their spirit started getting bolstered, seeing these direct attacks on the Father, and them kind of coming back to the Father.
Yeah, and then now they're going to be set apart, and these other plagues aren't going to happen, and they're going to be willing to walk or go after those 6 plagues that they don't get touched on. They are ready to go with Moses because it's like, wow, you know.
Yes. And we're going to get that into a little bit, and we're going to also see Egyptians do that, right?
Right, exactly. They say, I'm going to go with their God.
Yeah. That's where we get our mixed multitude, because when people started seeing the power of Yahuwah, the Creator,
the
true Creator, they said, we might want to just listen to what this Torah is telling us and start following his ways, because that dude's real.
Oh, yeah. So, and we might as well, we're almost done here, so we'll just go through the rest of them. So, the next plague they go through is the ashes turn to boils and sores. And here we're back at Isis, a direct connection again to Osiris. And Isley, so it says Isis was initially obscured goddess who lacked her own dedicated temple, but she grew in importance in the Dynasty Age process until she became one of the most important deities of ancient Egypt. Her cult subsequently spread throughout the Roman Empire, and Isis was worshipped from England to Afghanistan. She is still revered by pagans today. As mourner, she was a principal deity in rites connected with the dead, as a magical healer, and she cured the sick and brought the deceased to life. And the mother, she was the role model of all women. Okay, so mother of Osiris, she was a magical healer, and all these people were getting boils and sores. So again, a direct attack on these Egyptian gods. So, and then let's pull up the last one. Let's do this really quick. I should be able to find it here.
Seems to me like it's a direct attack on one Egyptian god, just known by many other names.
Well, so I personally think that is not what I want to do. I personally think that these were multiple deities. I think these were either the Watchers or their children in former part. But I think I think there's more than just one or two players. I think there's a handful of these beings, because like Isis is like a woman god that's around all the different cultures, and you kind of have this hierarchy of a few women, you know, Athena, etc., Hera, etc., of the other different things. Even, you know, in Hindi you have you know, women versions of gods that are separated it out. I don't think that that was just to appease man, but I don't think that they were necessarily real women either. But anyways, let me pull this up for y'all, and I'll give you an actual screen to look at while I do that. It didn't pull it up here. I think I may need to go here to pull that up. Oh, I was searching. Oh my gosh, I'm such a noob.
Hey, while he's doing that, you guys remember the show, the movie Highlander with the Immortals,
Totally.
with Sean Connery?
Mm-hmm.
What if they found a way, those ancient Egyptians, to be immortal, and they're the ones living in Antarctica and they're running everything? Just throwing it out there.
Well, that's exactly what they want you to believe. They want you to believe in those gods, and they are real. They're more real than the physical world we live in. But they want
you to pray to them instead of the true Father.
Right, right.
So we already kind of talked about Jeb, the earth, but we also have Nut, which is the sky. Now this is the actual, you know, firmament, you know, what is named the heaven. Let me pull that up for y'all. So this is Nut is an Egyptian religion, a goddess of the sky, vault of heavens, often depicted as a woman arched over the earth, god Jeb. So she's around Jeb. There, you got the sky and then the earth, and that next plague is, of course, hail rain down in the form of fire. So they're looking up into the sky, seeing this hail rain down, and I'm sure it wasn't just a fireworks show. I'm pretty sure this fire was coming down and burning buildings and destroying things, right? So it again was a direct attack. Now, the next one we're gonna talk about, of course, hey, if y'all ever hear, you know, want to say something while I'm pulling these up, feel free. You don't have to just wait till I'm done talking, just to throw that out there. But the next one is Seth. So Seth is the god of storms and disorders. So we'll just read this. Seth, also called Set, ancient Egyptian god, patron of the 11th nome of the province of Upper Egypt, which is South Egypt. The worship of Seth really originated in Nubt, Greek Obus, near present-day Tuk, on the western bank of the Nile River. Nubt, with its vast cemetery nearby, was a primary pre-dynasty center in Upper Egypt. So Seth was represented as a composite figure with a canine body, slanting eyes, square-tipped ears, tuft in the later representations, forked tail, and a long curved pointed snout. Various animals, including aardvark, antelope, ass, camel, finnig, greyhound, jackal, etc., have been suggested as the basis for this form. Because even the ancient Egyptians written his figure inconsistently, it's probably a mythical composite. And then he was the god of the sky, the lord of the desert, masters of storms and disorders. And we have the locusts sent from the skies, right? They have the sets that come and consume. Now, what's really interesting is this part here. Seth was worshipped at the capital Arvis in the northeastern Nile River Delta, and was identified with the Canaanite storm god Baal. So we talk about Baal quite a bit, but I'm just showing that direct connection where we're getting direct connections against these gods and the type of things we're doing. And then we're going to finish it off with the evil one himself, his representation in it's probably going to, there we go. Okay, so the last one is the 3 days of complete darkness, and we have the evil man himself, the evil one himself, the God of the sun, and the Creator God, and a direct connect against him, where the people who worship this God, the top God, right? That top God is what? Is the God of the sun, and the people who worship them are in darkness, and the people who worship the Father are in light. So it's a direct showing of those who are in darkness and those are in light, and it's the very highest God there is. Now, in Egypt, who is the highest authority? Does anyone know?
Of what?
Who has control
like
of
a
it
god?
all? Yeah.
Ra.
The god Ra.
No, Ra is a god, but who has ultimate authority and power in Egypt?
Now or then? Pharaoh? I mean, I
Pharaoh.
don't get
Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Exactly. And now we're here to the Passover, right? What happens? The supreme leader, the person at the top that controls everything. Now, again, we've talked about Pharaoh, that it's not just a physical thing, but a spiritual thing as well. And Pharaoh believed that he was at this top position, right? He knew all these gods, and he saw, he didn't see them talk or hear them or see them walk, but he
So
put
you're
all
saying
his
he saw
faith in
himself?
it. Oh,
He
yeah.
saw himself as a god.
He saw himself fit, and we kind of talked about before, pharaohs were considered the god's representation on earth.
Okay.
So when we have the striking down of the firstborn, who was supposed to protect them over all the things? The Pharaoh. The Pharaoh was in the God position, and that's who it comes down to. And we see this setting up because the Pharaoh knew these gods weren't real, because he had to deal with the logistics of running a country, and he had to do these things. And we can see that he had to go to his magi, his sorcerers, to get confirmation in what he was already believing. So he had to go to them and say, show me a way you can do this. And they did it. And he goes, see, I knew our gods are just as powerful. And then go ahead.
Well, I think you said he didn't believe in those gods. I think his magi's and all that, I think they could conjure up quite a bit of miraculous things.
No. And again, I think it's a spiritual thing. But what I'm saying is, he didn't see the gods, right? It's not like he met with Ra and got, advice.
Right.
So what I mean is, when there's an attack against all of his gods leading all the way up to Ra, he still doesn't submit. He still doesn't let the people go. So, okay, you can't hide behind these gods anymore. We already attacked all the gods and said they have nothing to do with what's going on, because if they did, they're either one, attacking you, or two, they're not there. And so after they went through all those 9 and we got up to the 10th is on him. That's why as soon as this event happens, he lets the people go, because he can't make an excuse, because it is on him and him alone. And it's always been on him alone, right? And I honestly think, and we're gonna kind of transition, but I kind of like to get y'all's thoughts about that kind of, and I'm sure a lot of y'all have already kind of thought about this or seen this before, but to me it's super duper interesting. Yeah, if y'all want to say anything about that, if not, we can just transition over to kind of talking about the parting of the Red Sea.
Well, other than Other than, I mean, yes, that shows the representation. Each one of those were represented by a god that they worshipped. And I think we're pretty much understand that. But I did, and we've already gone through the first 4 that the Israelites had to go through. That was, but Anthony kind of said the right thing there, and that it just clicked into my head, and I thought, oh my gosh, you're probably right there. That they had to go through it because they were worshiping him too, and they had to see. So anyway, other than that, I think we're all pretty up on the gods, right? Anybody else got a question?
Not questions, thoughts, additions,
thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to point out a couple of things that I saw in the plagues there, but I don't know if we can actually cover everything that happened in between them leaving Egypt and in the wilderness before the parting of the Red Sea. There's a lot to cover there, but
before you go on, I just want to welcome Chris's wife. I'm not sure your name, but just welcome if you'd like to say hi to everyone. If not, that's okay. If you want to go on, Anthony, awesome. If you'd like to say hi, go ahead. Oh, he's breaking up. Anyways, when you get a better connection, shut us out. But what were you saying, Anthony? I'm sorry for interrupting you, brother.
I noticed how something kind of made me think about the locusts in Revelation. It says that in Exodus 10 and verse 13, it says, so Moses stretched out his staff over Egypt. Now I'm reading from the NIV because that's where I got my notes at about this. But it says, so Moses stretched out his hand over Egypt, and the Lord made an east wind blow across the land all that day and all that night. By morning, the wind had brought the locusts. They invaded all Egypt and settled down in every area of the country in great numbers. And this is where what hit me is it says, never before had there been such a plague of locusts, nor will there ever be again.
Nor will they ever be again. Huh.
Right.
Which is interesting because, again, I don't believe the lotus of Revelation 9 are, what we perceive, like what we know as locusts today. But I want to point a couple things out. One is with the lotus, I love how that's a clean food.
Locust.
Sorry,
you always
locust.
Call it locust.
I know. It's like a one of those things in my head. But anyways, locusts are clean, so you can eat them. So it would for them been an abundance of food everywhere, and they have obviously not been eating food, probably eating very well for 400 years, being that they're slaves. So I just think that's really interesting that we'll kind of see this a little bit when we're seeing them leaving, where they're taking all the gold and silver, but it was like the locusts all translated the Egyptians' farms and crops to clean food that they could eat. So
interesting.
I don't have any proof of this, but I think it would be interesting to see. I bet that the Egyptians, because of their different types of gods, maybe they wouldn't even have seen it as a blessing to them, whereas to the Hebrews it would have been. So
their cattle hadn't been touched. Some of their things hadn't been touched yet. I can't remember. But has anybody been in a cave where they take the lights out in that darkness? That darkness is so dark.
Yeah.
It is so dark. I didn't realize dark could be darker.
Yeah.
And it's frightening. Didn't it say that they didn't even move? They didn't even move. It was that they were afraid to move, everybody. They were just like, wherever when the darkness came, they didn't even move for 3 days.
The next point I was wanting to mention there is the plague of darkness. I don't know if I've ever actually felt darkness before, but I have heard it. I could hear it. But anyway, in verse 21, chapter 10 in Exodus, it says, "Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand towards the sky so that darkness spreads over Egypt, darkness that can be felt." So Moses stretched out his hand towards the sky, and total darkness covered all Egypt for 3 days. No one could see, or, well, that's verse 23. But I don't know if I've ever felt darkness
I
before.
have. If you've ever been in a cave, you will feel that darkness. It's yeah.
I actually have this kind of weird story where I was at this abandoned place, and I can literally picture it in my head like vividly. And there was this stairwell. Well, like the windows behind the stairwell were broken out, so there was light like coming in, but it went down a floor into like a basement area. But like there was a little like dividing line, which it felt unright, of darkness, and I felt so creeped out by that darkness and what it looked like that I did not go down there. Like I literally was so freaked out I just left. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of feel what you're talking about, as compared to just being out on a dark night. You still have some, light from the stars and light from the moon if it's out.
Right. We went into the Oregon caves and they turned the lights out, and that's when you could feel it, taste it. I mean, it's the creepiest, worst feel. It's awful. All I can say is that is awful. Yeah. And you didn't want to move. You're afraid to move. You didn't know what was going to happen to you. It's creepy. Just to let you know. Okay, now you can move on. Real creepy.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead. I felt like darkness from people before, and they just got this dark feeling about them, absence of spirit or whatever, like there's no soul there. But that was like a kind of a darkness I could feel, even though I could still see it was, light. But that person had a kind of a darkness. I don't know if that pertained to anything, but
totally.
Yeah, this was the darkness. No light for them on the 10th plague. None. No light.
That's intense. And then the last being.
Can I say something?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, we went into a studio. We were going to have a practice. We rented a studio, and you could feel such a dark presence in the place. I walked through the whole place. The place was trashed. There was beer cans everywhere, throw up. It was disgusting. Cigarettes, but you could feel like a dark, evil presence. And then the caretaker of the place, the guy who ran the studio, showed us into Ronnie James Dio's drummer's throne room. And he had a massive drum set up, black leather, candles, and you could just feel the darkness coming out of that room and just the presence in that studio. It was so wild. I never felt nothing like that.
Well, now I have felt that sort of darkness before. I was talking about like the difference between day and night type of darkness. But yeah, I get what you're saying there too, brother.
No, Daryl brought that up, so I thought
that kind of just is kind of random. You know what? I won't go into that, but okay, let's before we get too far off and not get all the way finished up. Before I conclude, the gods and that last thing being on Pharaoh, the death of the firstborn, right? Like we get something called the Passover, right? The passing over. They took that lamb's blood and they covered their doorposts and their lintel, and they made a covering in the spirit of the Father, which I think this spirit is the same of the burning bush, passed over all of those with that sign and struck down the firstborn in the land of Egypt of beast and man. Now we celebrate Passover. I'm not saying, it is eternal commandment. So I suggest that you look into it. Of course, let the Father guide you, and not every, we're all on the same path, but we're taking different, we're taking our time at different places of it. So that being said, like to me, I tell my firstborn son, he actually, it says when, they ask of this, this is what you tell them. So this is my firstborn son. This is the year that he asked, and I got to tell him. And I asked him, like if we were alive in that time and we didn't put blood on our doorpost, who would have died? And he said, I would have died. And just giving that kind of a real aspect to my firstborn son, and also obviously my next son, the baby doesn't understand it yet, but it's just it's kind of sombering. And I love like we do the Seder dinner, which I know is more of a Jewish thing, but I agree with my wife. There is some truth even in that whole thing, what they ate and what they do in the religion. But we also, use that time to kind of self-reflect and get, work on getting sins removed from our life. And, we do take the feasts out and all that as a symbology, but it's a symbology for us physically and spiritually working on those things in our life. And we have grown a lot from it. And how we did it this year is completely different how we did it from last year. Like, we're learning, we're growing, and we're getting more and more connection. And, total random subject about the bread, like next year, with us really looking into milling our own wheat and making our own bread next year, after this year of being able to show them yeast, well, next Passover they'll be making unleavened bread and seeing the difference and the importance of that, and the fact that Yeshua is the living bread. And I just love all those connections to the Passover. That's why I wanted to talk about it. And tonight is for us the last night of Passover, so it kind of worked out perfectly that we're on this subject tonight. Yeah, I just for those who do celebrate Passover, I was just wondering in what capacity y'all celebrate it. What kind of things do y'all do, and if you do anything?
Well, first on Passover, yeah, I do think whatever. But on Passover, oh, now I lost it. Oh, shoot.
And I know there's people that have already done Passover, so
yeah.
I know there's the different things. This is the date. Maybe eventually the Father will lead us there. Please don't judge me because I do it at the Jewish times. That's just what I've came to yet. I'm obviously teachable. I want to learn the truth. There's some good things out there. I just haven't really had it set upon my heart. But I love the feast. They're so much better.
Well, the Passover is eternal, right?
Yeah.
Eternal? Okay. So
sorry.
So that was my thought, is eternal. And so it's being done even after the millennial reign. Now, when you think about it, we are the only ones, the ones who are resurrected, had lived here on earth, died, resurrected, and that have our hearts circumcised to where we will never sin again. The angels still have free will. We all have free will, but we will never do it. But those feasts are being done there too, in heaven. And why would there have to be a Passover other than a remembrance or anything else? That's a question. Other than a remembrance, but
well, Vader Bear, are you saying? You said this is the last day of when you celebrate Passover. Are you saying that I was freed from bondage on Passover?
Unleavened bread. He means unleavened bread.
Unleavened bread.
Sorry,
right?
yeah. Sorry, Passover already happened. I'm talking about specifically the Feast of Unleavened Bread. But that is the time them coming out.
That's what I meant too. But
yeah, like you're basically coming out of it just like it kind of did in Scripture. So that's pretty funny connection there as well. So let's talk about them coming out, right? So we have the Passover. Pharaoh says, "Let them go," and they start making their way. Like they get all the gold, they get all the gold and silver and livestock, and they're given all these possessions where they have been spoiled. They get the spoils of this battle, right? And they start making their way, and we kind of alluded it to before, but I think this is so important that that the house of Israel, right, is never been just a genetic group of people, just a bloodline people. We see the mixed multitude, which was, I think it was more than just Egyptians. There were probably slaves from other places as well. And then there was Egyptians and maybe even, other people that were there witnessing those things that went with them. We don't know. We just know them as a mixed multitude. But how important that is to see that the Father is grafting those people were, where they were at the time that they were. He came, he went to them as they were, and he accepted them into the fold. And so these direct people, right, which we'll get to, after we cross the Red Sea, will go on to start doing the correct behavior and following and become part of the 12 tribes. So,
the mixed multitude. Yeah, but doesn't some do the calf and they were against? I wonder how many of those were Egyptians.
Well,
I wonder how many of those were Egyptians.
Well, for sure. There was 3,000 that were killed, but we're talking about 3,000 to, millions of people.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
And they're called a mixed multitude. So it was like a multitude of people. So
right. That's where I keep going back to. There's only two races that exist. There's Israel and Babylon. There's Israelites and Egyptians. There's 12 tribes of Israel, and we're all grafted into the same olive tree as anybody else. That's why I say that there's only two races in this whole realm.
I say there's only good or evil.
Circumcised and uncircumcised.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that might too. Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. They give us all these dualities in life, and I do think, obviously, when it comes down to the Father, it's black and white, right? Like you're either considered a child of Him or you're not, right? And
that's right.
We can make all the excuses that we want, say, we don't need to do those things, but it's like, come on, even if you don't celebrate Passover, okay, I'm not telling you have to, but the Father is literally saying this is an internal thing. He's not just saying if you're a Jew or a Hebrew by blood, this is for you, because we know the mixed multitude, right? So this mixed multitude will come out of Egypt, and the very next year they will celebrate Passover.
And it is eternal. So it is something for people to think about doing if you don't, because it absolutely is eternal.
And there's so many connections to the Messiah. We see it within it. We see, again, Moses being this kind of, I would say, steward of a high priest, where Aaron was the, kind of the true high priest. And a lot of people, like my wife, loves to point out, she's like, Aaron doesn't get enough credit, and that's totally true. But his line was line of Levi, so he should 100%, and I think it's because of the Prince of Egypt, but he 100% was, took over that mantle and became the high priest, when Moses died. So, it's so beautiful to see how the Father connects His love, and then the love we would get from Him and His Son, Yeshua, and how he's kind of, even Moses and Aaron are a placeholder for Messiah. So,
well, didn't Sean say Aaron actually was high priest and king? That's what a high priest is to the group there. It's like a king because they go to the high priest for judgments I mean, the high priest is like the king.
like Abraham was, right? Abraham was the king of his
Absolutely. High
people,
priest and
and
king.
everyone went to him for spiritual and, physical
Right.
needs.
And then Moses, when we get down to it, he made a hierarchy so that he didn't have to make every judgment. But Aaron was king, high priest, and king is, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think you're totally right. I think, but I think that position wasn't really fully given. That's why I kind of said Moses was like a steward of the throne, right? Like he was sitting at that spot, but then when he got, when he died because of his actions, right, not being able to go into the promised land, then that's when I believe Aaron actually took up the full leadership and the full priesthood.
Yep.
So,
maybe, yeah, I don't know. I just know that when high priest of it was king, and it's a million people, which is a small town.
Oh yeah.
Well, we
Small
do
city.
see a little.
Small city.
We do see a little later on in Scripture, though, in Judges and First and Second Samuel. Well, I hadn't read all of Second Samuel yet, so I can't say that. But we see that we were supposed to appoint, like the priest was supposed to appoint judges, but then later on they wanted to have a kingship, and Yahuwah warned against the kingship.
Yeah.
Because he's king, but it's people could easily put a human king in the kingship above the father, like mentally do that.
Yeah, well, if it's a high priest, the high priest cannot be a high priest without doing Torah almost perfectly. They have the greatest, whatever, I don't,
responsibility.
They do. They have the greatest responsibility. So,
Supposed to feed them.
Yeah, all the priests, but the high priest was the greatest responsibility. Anyway, just like Jesus, our king and our high priest. So he is going to be. It's who he is in heaven.
So
Same thing.
Right.
What?
Not Joe Biden.
Not Joe Biden. No.
I'm just joking around.
Oh heavens, no.
So yeah, now so they leave, they get out there, and Pharaoh's like, you know what, I changed my mind, and we know this is the hardness of his heart in full gear, as well as the the vengeance in his heart for the loss of his firstborn son. So he takes his whole army and he chases after the Israelites. They're between one of the strongest military forces in the world at the time, and they're back up against the Red Sea, and the parting happens, and it, guys, when that I know it's like almost cliche to say how amazing that is, but it's like the people that got to see that, like, I don't even know how you could even walk. Like, I feel like I would faint if I saw something crazy like the parting of the Red Sea, and I'm starting to walk down it and I see that the water is stopped. Like all physical signs should say the water should slam into me and I should drown, but it doesn't. And that's crazy. And then we have the Pharaoh come and bring his army. Now I know Anthony had a kind of a topic that he wanted to bring out specifically about his army. Um, so if you kind of want to talk about that, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, let me get to it right quick. This is just what I saw in the NIV. Now I don't particularly like the NIV, but it is easy to read. But in the Egyptian army, why, like in chapter 14, verse 9, it says the Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, horsemen and troops. Why would it include horsemen? And was it is a type of god also?
I see what you're saying, like a satyr.
Cavalry, man. It's like cavalry.
Yeah, it's like
So
the ones on horseback, the ones riding the chariots, the ones. Yeah, I see it as that.
So yeah, and you can say that. Go ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say it mentions horses and chariots, and then it says horsemen.
Yeah.
Oh boy, a cow.
Sorry, let me pull this back.
Yeah, I personally think it's half horse, half human. Like, what are them things? Centaurs or whatever.
Yeah, centaurs or something like that.
Yeah, it is centaur.
Not satyr.
Satyrs are half goat, half.
Yeah.
It was, you said 8, right? Or 18.
Yeah, it could be interpreted that way, I guess. But I always just thought of as horsemen that rode horses.
I don't get why this is giving me so much issue. Exodus 14.
Well, horses battle by themselves. They don't go battling Israelites. Horses, it says, it mentions horses and chariots.
Yes.
So the horses wouldn't be just going into battle. And it also mentions the troops.
Yeah, those are the ground troops. And there's ones in chariots, and then there's ones that are on horses. I don't know. That's how I thought of it. I've never thought of it another way, but yeah, it could be a centaur.
So yeah, I'm showing the word here through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen, and then that word is Strong Hebrews 6571, and it's Rosh, and it's a horse or steed. Let me read here. It says, for Parsh, a steed as stretched out to a vehicle, not single nor for mounting. Also a driver in a chariot. Guys, like when I read that, this is what I pictured. Because it's like, it literally says a steed as stretched out to a vehicle, but it's not for single mounting. Also, by implication, just because a driver in a chariot, i.e. collectively cavalry or horsemen. I don't know, like, I don't think we can say one way or the other. I think it is an interesting fact because we see a lot of I was about to say Crimea, but chimera.
Chimeras.
Yeah, chimeras in the religion. So it wouldn't surprise me, and it kind of sounds like it, right? Like, because it's telling it's a horseman. It says it's stretched out as a vehicle, but it's not for mounting. So in our minds, when we think of a horseman, we could say, oh, that's just talking about like a guy on a horse. It's not, a chariot being driven by multiple horses. It's just a guy on a horse. But it literally says here, not single nor for mounting.
And
it says,
so they were always pulling something?
No, it's almost like a centaur with a. It's almost like a centaur that is a chariot in itself, which is kind of hard to imagine. But it's like, I don't know.
Well, no, just a centaur. Period.
Maybe
He's
it's
got
a
arms.
Minotaur.
But just imagine if you had like a warrior, like a centaur that was also like stretched out carrying this mechanical device that he could also use in battle. Like that's
Or
pretty
just, or he could just use his arms and swords
totally
and
too.
just be doing.
Yeah.
It
It's a
doesn't.
Minotaur. Half motorcycle, half man.
Uh,
But yeah, I think it's an interesting topic. I don't know
Yeah.
if we can ever have any like divinity things.
Well, that's,
I wonder if there's any type of hieroglyphics in Egyptian that shows centaurs. That would be kind of interesting to.
Oh yeah, there is. I believe there is, but what Anthony brought up about being
They're
maybe
everywhere.
of centaurs was really interesting until you read this, Vader in the Strongs. I just thought of it as a man on a horseman, but it definitely could be. We're all conjecture here. It could be a centaur.
Well, every one of their gods was some sort of a mixed genetic thing, humanoids with dog heads that were giants above all the other people, and like
Yeah, but they
Ra,
were gone now, weren't they? All those gods were gone.
right?
Flood.
But if they have that, why wouldn't they have something like a centaur that's
Oh, they
seen?
did. Yeah, I
It's-
believe they did. I believe they had more chimeras all the way up to the 12th. I mean, the 17th, 8th.
They're
I
still,
just, yeah, they've had them for a long time.
yeah, I think they're still here too.
Yeah, I think they're still here. Same here. Absolutely.
Well, I know
believe
the Minotaurs here. I seen that on a Geico commercial.
that. No, well, I'm not. I'm
So-
talking about man and beast.
So
too.
I just
Something.
wanted
Man
to.
and
And motorcycle.
Yeah, I was just gonna. I wanted to show this picture real quick. Let me pull it up so that y'all can see it, and go to images, and then go to.
Is it a picture of a cowboy?
No, so it was we obviously know like the Greeks and the Egyptians had a direct connection, right? Like we even saw that Isis was celebrated all the way into the England. But let me pull this up and transition. So here is a hieroglyphic of a centaur with a bow and wings. But there was also this picture. Let me go back here that I found here. And I thought this was interesting because it literally shows two centaurs with weapons carrying a chariot with a guy on it.
Yeah, there you go.
So, very interesting there. But I just want to point that out real quick. Hey, don't be yawning. It's contagious. But
Is
anyway,
Shabbat over?
huh?
Shabbat's over with you guys, but it's not with me yet.
Yeah, yeah.
I still have like
sun's down for me. All right. Well, so yeah, I think it's pretty cool that even when they were up to their, they had these, between a rock and a hard place, the Father always makes a way, and something as impossible as the parting of the Red Sea is like, it's impossible. That's why it's a miracle. That's why they knew that Yah was for them. And just like the amazingness of being there. But we're going to see shortly, right, like as we get to the other side of the sea and them starting to go, and we'll talk about this more next episode, their 40 years in the wilderness. We're going to see kind of, even though they saw all these amazing things and they were spared from all these plagues, they're going to go right back to their thing, and it's going to take 40 years for the Father to really work that out of them, till they're ready to go on to the promised land. So
Right.
that's kind of all the rest of our episode. So we'll take this last 20 minutes or so and kind of just chit chat about anything that y'all want to. I know that Anthony has some things he'd of course like to talk about since he hasn't been here for a while. Marsha, if you want to talk about kind of the stuff you've been sharing, I think that's a pretty interesting topic. And that kind of blew my mind. Is that recent with that company that sells the wheat?
Azure?
Yeah, when did that happen?
Oh, just a few days ago. My daughter, she had she got her order, but it happened. Oh, geez, was it last week? It just happened. Really, just in the past week. I hope you get your order, Vader, because did you order from them? Because they are having a problem with. I mean, they are going to be slower at getting stuff. Have you ordered, Vader? Yeah, you ordered 50 pounds.
What are you talking about? What are you ordering?
Sorry, I had to step away and use the restroom real quick.
Oh.
No, what I was saying was, I did put an order, but I got it, like, I missed the deadline, so mine's showing me I won't get it to the end of the month.
Okay, it's grains.
So
it's all about these grains that they've stripped everything from the grain that's down to in everyone, and there are others, but this is a Christian company, and from what I understand, I read about them. We're starting to mill our own grains, is what we're doing. Frankie and others, and milling red hard wheat.
Marsha, do you know anything about Dave's bread? Because I was reading the ingredients on that. It says it's whole grain.
Well, I know, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, you should watch I'll link the video real quick in the description, but
most of it. It's just a hard process, man.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. What are you talking about? You get the grain from them. You get the grain, and it's good grain, and you got it,
and then you have your flour right there.
My daughter
instead of using
4
your
loaves
flour
of bread already.
Yeah, instead of making your, making bread, buying bread from the grocery store, it's literally just, put the grind it up, and then use that flour to make your bread.
I got another question. Can you take the milled grain when it's real fine and put it in water and drink it? Would you get the same essence out of it?
Well, I think you could eat it. Like you could just eat the grains normal and get assets, but bread at least lets you increases the flavor. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, but I mean they ate the grain.
They did.
Pharisees yelled at them. So I'm thinking you could just put it in water and drink it like a supplement.
That's if you wanted to grind it and do it that way. Otherwise, you could just eat it like seeds.
Well, I think.
Well,
yeah. You do it that way.
If you want to do it that way, but if you don't want to bake it, but put a little.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of the kind of health issues that she was talking about is like, oh my gosh.
Wasn't that a powerful video?
Oh, totally.
Oh,
So.
Hey guys, am I right here?
No, we can hear you. Welcome.
Okay, I moved so I could talk. Chris wanted me to tell you guys how long it takes me to mill our grain, because that's what we do too. We get the grains, and then we have a little electric mill. It's stone one, and it's super fast. I mean, if I'm doing like 7 cups, it's like a few minutes, and then I have flour to bake with. Anyway.
Exactly. So
yeah.
Frankie, it's not a hard process. You just take it down into flour, and then start using it.
Yeah. Baker, though. That's the thing. I don't. and I really don't have the time.
But after you see that video and
I know.
find out what it does for a person, oh, God meant it to be that way. God meant it to be that way.
And literally think about the fact that Yeshua literally says, like, man can't live on bread alone. Well, that statement is true because he's talking about like the spiritual life. Like, you just eating food and living here isn't going to give you, spiritual life, but man can literally live on bread alone. So
it's pretty darn close.
And the bread of life, we get
good water.
We got the manna from heaven, which is the bread of angels. There's so many references to that.
It's the bread of life. The show, it was in the showbread. It's bread. It's all out throughout the Bible. And when after that video, I can't tell anybody enough about it. It blew my socks off. And I realized what they have done to us in this world more than ever. You'll have to watch that.
Yeah, and what's cool about stuff like that is that's stuff that you can actually do to change your life.
Yes.
Right? As opposed to, because there's no way you can, like, even if it takes you a couple extra minutes, right? Because you still got to go to the store, you got to get the bread, you got to take the bread. So it takes time to even buy bread. So in that same amount of time, it's like you could mill your own fresh grain, which then boom, you turn that into dough, and you don't have to make, like, if you really, you could make biscuits with it or muffins with it or whatever you want.
My daughter made pizza. She did it put it on a pizza pan for her son and made him a cheese pizza. I mean, she's going the whole route in the sense that she will be baking with the soft grains, the hard grains, the blah, 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 blah. Because your harder grain is not really made for any of your baking type stuff, So, anyway, not for your hard wheats are for pretty much bread, in a sense. And then your softer wheats, which go down in protein and everything else. You just have to watch. I will put that link to the video in the chat, guys. It is so. I put it in all the Discord.
Yeah.
I was so blown away by it. And you guys, Chris, and Kelly, you have been grinding your grains for a while now, or what? Grinding grain.
Milling.
Anyway, I'll put it in the link. I'll put up the link to that video in the chat on YouTube. Close cosmology,
it's
because
so good. It's Bread Becker's, and it's by Sue Becker.
Her a lot of people have watched her older videos. This one is on April 1st. She just made a new video, and it was I was just blown away. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
I'll put the name of her YouTube channel. But it'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. We were on top of it immediately. Oh, and Vader, you might have a delay. This is what someone said in chat in Discord somewhere, that she had put an order in and they ran out, even though her order, she went to go pick it up and they out. So sometimes they I don't know whether she was told beforehand they ran out.
You're breaking up right now. But I did read some rules. If you're not there at the time that's like agreed upon, they can sell your stuff to other people.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, unless you want to pay a whole bunch for shipping, you got to make sure you're there on time to pick up your stuff. So it's probably be early.
Where do you pick up at?
So you get to choose the location. It gives you, like, you'll put in your zip code, and they'll give you some different spots that are around you. And then you click on those spots, and they give you clear directions on where they are, what's expected. Like some places say, like, you have to be there at this time or we'll sell. And then other places say, we'll hold till end of day. So you'll just have to kind of look.
you find in your area, you can find in your area where you can do your pickup.
And it does it for you. It shows you
Oh, I
this.
see.
Yeah, you put your zip code in, and it shows you areas around places where there's volunteers that you can pick up from.
And you know what's interesting about that? Those people that you pick it up from, they spend their 3 hours or whatever there and get those orders and connect, and they're volunteers. They're all volunteers. They're not paid. From what I heard, they're all volunteers. They're volunteers down here in that just do it. And I don't think Azure is where we're getting our grains from. They're Christian based, and I think they have like group fields of only preferred, only non-GMO, only perfect grain, that they help out these farmers of the fields. And I don't know. It's just one big circular community thing with Azure Standard. AzureStandard.com. And anyway, it's and Bread Beckers is the YouTube channel, and her I forget the name of it, doggone, but that first the April 1st or something video, it'll change your life. Once you hear it, it'll blow your mind. It did mine. That's all I can say. Now go ahead, Nancy. I'm done with the bread stuff.
Is that link? Hopefully that link works for everyone. I'm about to post it on the other side too. I can't hear you, brother. You're roboting real hard.
I'm gonna put in the YouTube video the link. Okay.
But it won't let me.
Here
I messed it up, I believe.
is the video link. Video link, and there it goes. Okay, I just put it in. ECF's whatever.
Live chat. And where'd you put it?
I put it in ECF's YouTube video chat. I mean your chat, the link. To Brad Becker, the video that changed my thinking on everything.
I can't.
And
in what place though?
I put it on the ECF's YouTube chat.
Oh, YouTube chat. Okay, it didn't. Oh, okay, I see it there. Sorry. There you go. Yeah, check that out, guys. It's super duper cool. I ordered at 50 pounds of the wheat for me. It was less than $50 with the pickup. So.
And you know what? You look on Amazon or any place else, and you're never going to get a price like that. That is awesome price. It's just Azure Standard. TANDARD. That's who you ordered. The video is to watch, to learn about all. You can buy from her too, but Azure Standard is where we get our best deal on the berries, on the hard wheat berries and that.
Can you post that in the chat, Vader? Azure Sander?
He just did.
What part of the chat?
ECF's YouTube.
Put it in the YouTube one?
Yep, ECF YouTube.
Yes, also on Take of the World too. I gave y'all both the links, but
yeah, that's all I gotta say is that's where you get your grain from Azure Standard, and watch Bread Becker video, that one I just put up in chat, and it'll change your whole thinking on everything, on anything at the store.
yeah, totally.
Oh, that's right. My daughter made waffles, pizza, and bread all day today out of that.
Well, I'm excited to get mine. I'm pumped. Because I like the fiber part. Like, I definitely need that in my diet, and like how much we're missing from them. Take it. Did go watch the video.
Oh, watch the video. We can't even tell you what it has in it that'll take care of your body. Oh my gosh. It's yeah. Yeah, go watch the video. It's worth it. So we pumped that up real good.
Oh,
we
yeah,
better get it.
I'm super.
We better get our orders in quick, Vader, like 250 pounds before everybody starts ordering.
Yeah.
Well, it lasts forever, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you put it in like a food grade container, you know, so animals can't get to it.
Yeah. It comes in burlap, but yeah, put it in your buckets and
you better add something else in there to kill the weevils.
Yep. And how much land does it take to plant enough of that to sustain it year by year?
I don't know. You'll have to do a search on that one. I just want to get like,
I mean,
I don't know.
250 pounds of grain will cover a lot of land.
Well, my daughter told me today, well, I don't know the land, but she told me today you can pretty much, a 50-pound bag that she got would, and after doing all these bread making and all this stuff, she figures out a pound per cup. Tell me if I'm wrong, Beetlejuice in the chat. A pound, she would get, no wait, I don't know what is that right? No, that's wrong. A pound, ugh. She has it all figured out. That pretty much 50 pounds would do, no, a pound won't do a cup of flour. It'll do more than that. A pound of loaf of bread? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm excited to get it, even if I'm just going to be like eating them like nuts or whatever, but or seeds, but
hey, just making one loaf of bread, like for my husband and I, heck, just eating some slices of it a day, I guarantee you're going to get your nutrients.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, first you're the pick. Okay, anyway, go ahead, Anthony. I'm going to ask my daughter a question in chat. Okay.
I don't know what to say about it. I don't forgot.
No, not about the grain. There was something else you were going to be talking about.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't remember what it was. I don't think it's all that. I know I'm happy to be out of that place I was in, but I ain't out the woods yet. It's fixed to get tough. But I kind of ask if everybody just kind of keep me in your prayers when it comes to that.
Yeah, also, we started a GoFundMe for getting him a lawyer. We're at $390, so shout out to all of those that have helped get us to that point. You know, let's just say like this, the lawyer is insistent because, you know, and I get it, he's a lawyer, but there's a civil case, guys. If you see what's going on, not only to him but other people inside of those jails, which makes me think it's not just that county but other counties, you know, we need to stand up. And you know, if it's 5 to free Anthony. You know, he is obviously already free from you know, free from jail, but he still is not out of dealing with the situation. So please, if you have the ability or the will to throw even $5 his way to add that total up and get it up, we would really appreciate it. And it really would help out Anthony to get him in a better place, you know. You know, all the help to this point. Thank you so much again to the people that put money on his books, to the people that are donating to the GoFundMe. We really do appreciate. So that being said, we do need to get to the comments from the previous video. And I believe my wife is, she's here. If you won't mind, will you jump on, love, so that you can tell everybody what the prize for the 1,000 subscribers is going to be? And then we're going to read those comments as well, but from my understanding, I thought she was going to pick from those. So if you don't mind, and then I'm going to pull up the comments for you, so just bear with me for a moment. Oh, not that one. And we want this one.
Well, I want to take this moment to say I want to thank everybody that had helped me for the last month. It was very appreciative. I won't never forget it. Thank y'all very much. Everybody who helped me out. Couldn't have made it without y'all.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome when we come together and take care of each other. It's definitely a very beautiful thing. So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the comments from the last two videos. We'll read those off, and then we'll say our goodbyes. So let me pull that up for y'all. Bear with me just a moment. Here we go. So this is from the C.E.F. Thank you for all those new subscribers. We're getting one, it's like almost one a week. So hopefully we'll kind of see that go up with the announcement of what we're giving away. But yeah, let's see here. So Pepper Mandy said, got any C.E.F merch? That is coming. I have to make a trip to Washington to get a device, and then we're also looking into investing things for like stickers and mugs and stuff like that. So that stuff is coming. So I'm excited about that. Thank you for that. And then see, Nick said, my vote is either giving away a shofar or the sort of gift basket of organic food or a water filter. Okay. And then
I got a suggestion that I didn't put in there now. A 50-pound bag of azure
wheat. Yeah, that's a good one. Vader votes to give away a shofar. Pretty Yasham idea. I like a Vader's idea. Mine was the thumb drive with Sean investigating bio series with the 6 years of content. That's a good idea. Had a great time. Extra bonus with Sean coming over, passed over part of the show. Yeah, that was so awesome when he joined us there at the end. Go check that out if y'all didn't see that. And then Kathy said, I'm totally new on Discord, but got a message, Mr. Vader. It wouldn't allow me to follow, but I did come here to subscribe. You're close to 500 now. Congrats. I'm finishing Ian's Samuel's study right now. When the notification popped up, I didn't know Discord gave notifications. Much love. Yeah, absolutely. We take the time to do those things. So there was a couple votes there. Trying to think. Maybe what we can do is.
Yeah, you can't just go from this, can you?
No,
I would give it a week or two or something. Get more ideas.
Or what we could do is on Take on the World, and shout out to Chris and Liz for letting us, use y'all's platform to share our puzzle pieces with y'all's family. We definitely appreciate you guys. We could maybe use Take on the World to do a poll, and then people could vote there.
Or suggestions or what, and there should be a dollar amount so they don't do, because it's, I don't know. But yeah. I'm going to put another idea in there.
I'll do that. What I'll do is I'll make a post on Take on the World, like a poll. I'll link that in Discord so those all in Discord can get that. And then we'll post it obviously next week too. We'll give it some time, like maybe we'll give it a week.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And then whatever's the top that's what will be the thing, and we'll use those ideas and maybe mix some of the new ideas in there, and we'll go from there. So sweet. All right. Well, again, thank you all for your comments. I almost forgot. E.C.F, our lovely Moonglow, said thank you for the love there. But yeah, so that kind of wraps up that part of it. we'll get that poll going for what we're going to give away for the 500 giveaway. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe. What's up, Frankie?
Were you able to see my comments?
I did not see any comments. Did you just add it?
No, I put them in during the week. I shared our YouTube page and our Cloud Sound page.
Where's this at?
On your page?
Oh,
Or
it
ECF?
won't. If you did it as a comment, it won't. It rejects links. You can't link. Yeah, at least for me, you can't. I don't know if you can share a link in the Discord description. Can you? But I don't see any. I can look into that. Maybe because there's a link, I have to approve it or something.
What did you say, Chris?
You have to have a wrench.
Well, he has a wrench in Discord, but in YouTube, yeah. Why don't you? Actually, we're trying to grow the channel, so put your comment in the Enclosed Cosmology Fellowship YouTube channel comments, or TOW whatever comments. That's what it is.
I put 2 links in the comments.
Not links, they won't take it unless in the comments. Just comment what you got to comment. You can't put links. Put it that way.
I did put words in there with it.
I'll look into it.
That's why it's not there.
That's
why it's not there.
No, it's not there. I see it.
Yeah. I didn't see
you
it.
You have to have a wrench.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about that because
either
or I
did.
Okay. Either way, I will look into it, see if because there's a link I have to approve it. We'll look into why it's not there, but I don't want to spend 5 minutes talking about links and stuff.
Very
so
good.
I apologize that it's not there. I don't know why currently, but anyways, all right. Well, let's go ahead and say our goodbyes, and then we'll play Dig Deep, and then so I'll throw it over to my brother again. Welcome back to the family, and don't forget to throw him some $5 if you can for the legal fund. But anyways, brother, good to have you again, and if you'd like to say your goodbyes.
Yes, Shabbat Shalom to everybody, and I do appreciate everything people's done so far. But like I say, I ain't quite out the woods, but I'm fixing to start selling some of my stuff to figure out how to get all this resolved. Also, but thank you all very much, and Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks, man. And Frankie, I'll leave you to last so you can call out Dig Deep. So I'll go over to Chris if you have reception, if you'd just like to say your goodbyes.
Peace out.
Peace out, Robotron. Awesome. All right, and Marcia?
No, shalom now. Shalom to everyone. Nice to have been on here. And go get grain and get a grind videos. I can't push it enough because it'll make us all healthier Christians. And we want good health, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the bread of life. Ooh. Anyway.
And I believe it was Kelly. If you'd like to say your goodbyes, go ahead. All right, she may not be in reception range, so I'll go ahead and go. Well, again, appreciate you, everyone. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us out. Get to that 500 number, and we're going to be giving out something pretty cool. There's a few ideas out there. Maybe a shofar, maybe some literature, maybe some grain. We'll see. So make sure you, if you haven't subscribed to Take on the World, you do there, because they have 1,000, so I'm able to post things like polls and stuff. So check out the poll, and then of course I'll put a link at the Discord in that. But I appreciate you all that were here, all that will be here. Whether you're in the live chat, shout out to all you legends there, or you're watching it afterwards. We still appreciate you. And I hope y'all have, tomorrow is the first day of the week. We got Passover, at least for me, and and the calendar I'm on right now. So we're starting fresh. So I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend, and that the Father keeps and holds y'all. And I'll throw it over to Frankie to close this out.
All right. I just want to say Shabbat to everyone, and Shabbat Shalom to everyone. And the name of this song is "Dig Deep." From digging deep, we found so much revelation, and we're coming into Passover this week, just like Vader said. So this is an appointed time. This is a medium. Make it a hard precedence to spend time with the Father. Engage the Father. Ask him questions. Wait on him. The word says, be still and know that I am God. Be still before him and let him speak to you and tell him what he feels about you, how he loves you, what he desires for you. And just enjoy this appointed time of fellowship with our most glorious Heavenly Father who loves us unconditionally. He gave his only begotten Son so that we can have life, and we have life abundance in us. So just take this time to dig deep and spend some time with the Father. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom. Here's Dig Deep.
Your glory, conceal the mystery. You give us the honor to search a matter. You raise up a standard